I would like to reconvene the meeting and call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of September 4th, 2018. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Here.
Councilmember Cordero?
Here.
Councilmember Moats? Here. Councilmember Waterfield? Here. Madam Mayor Patino?
Here. City Attorney, Mr. Trujillo, would you please give the closed session report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is no reportable action for each of the 4 closed session agenda items.
Thank you. Our first order of business is a proclamation, and Councilmember Boyson will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This proclamation for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas ovarian cancer is a serious threat to the women's health. And whereas according to the American Cancer Society, ovarian cancer is the 5th most common cause of fatal cancers in the United States. And whereas, unfortunately, many women who suffer from this cancer are not diagnosed until it has become very advanced because there is no early screening test and symptoms may be easily confused with other ailments. And whereas increased awareness of the symptoms and risk factors of ovarian cancer will enhance chances of early detection and thereby survival from the disease. And whereas ovarian cancer research will continue to help develop reliable diagnostics, better therapies, and prevention strategies to prevent this disease. And whereas through public awareness, the City of Santa Maria seeks to minimize the devastating effects of ovarian cancer. Now therefore, Alice Patino hereby recognizes September 2018 as National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Santa Maria and urge residents and businesses of the city to support efforts raising awareness about ovarian cancer. And here accepting this award is someone we know very well, Christina Cinco.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, city officials, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor once again to receive this proclamation recognizing ovarian cancer in our community. We live in a wonderful community, a very giving community, and the Teal Journey is honored to be doing work here, supporting women in treatment, educating women up and down the Central Coast, and we appreciate being here again, being recognized, and very, very happy to be doing this in the City of Santa Maria. So many of you support our events, Madam Mayor, Councilwoman Etta Waterfield. Mary, thank you once again for letting us have the display case at the Santa Maria Public Library. This is the 4th or 5th year, and you and your crew are so generous. So thank you very, very much.
Next, we have another proclamation, and Councilmember Waterfield will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This proclamation is for childhood cancer awareness. Whereas more than 10,000 new cases of cancer will be diagnosed among children under 15 years of age in the United States in 2018. And whereas the most common childhood cancers are leukemia, brain and central nervous system tumors, and lymphoma, accounting for more than half of all cancers diagnosed in children. And whereas the cause of most pediatric cancers remain largely unknown, and whereas the 5-year survival rate for all childhood cancers has climbed from less than 50% to 80% for children and adolescents under the age of 21 as a result of clinical trials over the past 4 decades, and whereas families, caregivers, charities, and research groups across the United States observe September as a Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to spotlight pediatric cancer and survivor programs and raise awareness and necessary funds for research and family support. Whereas it is appropriate to remember the young lives taken too soon and their families. Now therefore, Alice M. Patino, the Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognizes September 2018 as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the city of Santa Maria and urge residents and businesses of the city to support efforts raising awareness about pediatric cancer. And here to accept this proclamation is Cassandra Segalia.
Thank you all for this honor. It's truly a blessing to have the city of Santa Maria support childhood cancer and recognize that this is real, and to support it not just in September but all year long. I appreciate the support that we've had of several of you sitting members. It really means a lot to show the community to get involved, be involved, and make this place a better community to live in. So thank you on behalf of all the families that have children fighting cancer, and we really appreciate your guys' support. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have another proclamation, and Councilmember Moats will be making the presentation.
And this will be a proclamation for the National Alcoholism and Drug Addiction Recovery Month. Whereas the opioid crisis was declared a national emergency, claiming an average of 142 American lives a day, and whereas the millions of Americans, including youth aged 12 to 17, who face a substance abuse use disorder, deserve hope for recovery. And whereas 9 out of 10 Americans with substance addictions begin using alcohol and/or drugs before age 18, causing teen substance abuse to underlie the most preventable, most costly public health problem in America today, and whereas 78% of Santa Barbara County high school students who participated in prevention activities report that they help them avoid alcohol and drug use, and whereas treatment is cost-effective at a benefit-to-cost ratio of approximately 12 to 1. By some measurements, with every $1 invested in addiction treatment programs yielding $4 to $7 in reduced drug crime, theft, and criminal justice costs. And whereas Santa Barbara's Fighting Back, the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, and Santa Barbara County alcohol and drug treatment providers invite all of Santa Maria to participate in National Alcoholism and Drug Addiction Recovery Month during September to support community members in recovery. Now therefore, Alice Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognizes the month of September 2018 as National Alcoholism and Drug Addiction Recovery Month in the City of Santa Maria. And she encourages all residents to celebrate recovery and observe this month with programs and activities that reflect this year's theme, Join the Voices for Recovery, Invest in Health, Home, Purpose, and Community. And this proclamation will be received and accepted by Britt Stanley, Melissa Brayton, and Chuck Madsen.
Thank you, Councilman Moats, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for this proclamation for Recovery Month, for the multitude of service providers that are doing good work here in our city. Recovery for many changes lives and saves lives. There are currently 928 people receiving substance use disorder treatment in the city of Santa Maria. That includes adults, adolescents, perinatal, outpatient treatment, intensive outpatient, and medically assisted treatment. This number doesn't include the hundreds of people in sober living homes, those who are currently incarcerated for crimes very likely associated with their addiction, those who attend and participate in self-help groups like AA and NA in lieu of treatment, nor does it include the large number of people in the city who struggle every day with addiction and substance abuse, but have yet to engage in treatment. It's important we continue our prevention efforts as our community is dealing with 11, 12, and 13-year-olds using marijuana, alcohol, Xanax, cocaine, and recently my friend lost her 27-year-old son in the last couple months to addiction. So thank you for this honor. I want to introduce Melissa Broughton, who's with CADA, and she wants to kind of share a little bit of her story in her recovery.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Broughton, and I just really appreciate this time to be able to talk quickly about Recovery Month and being able to acknowledge that. I love that we're able to talk about that and kind of lessen the stigma. But, I often tell people that I've experienced grace through alcoholism, and that's a little confusing. So they're thinking, well, why would you experience grace through alcoholism? But in December, I'll have 2 years of recovery. And for me, it was a little bit different. I come from a family of alcoholics. My dad was an alcoholic. My dad died from alcoholism. So I am an adult child of an alcoholic. And I say that not proudly, but in a way that makes me feel like, again, I have experienced grace through alcoholism. Because of my dad's experience, because of what he went through, I knew what was happening to me. Statistically, for women, we generally don't start drinking or problem drinking until our mid to late 30s. And so for me, all of those years, I thought I had escaped alcoholism, and I didn't really understand the addiction. After my dad had died, that's when it started for me. So it was very traumatizing. And so being able to recognize addiction and talk about it and talk about recovery, for me, that is the grace through alcoholism. The other day I was leaving my office at CADA here in Santa Maria, and I noticed the sign, and I looked at it and I thought, wow, that's so interesting. Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, that's where I work. And that to me is an example, one of the many examples of grace. So now I get to work in this field, I get to help other people, I get to help other families, because it really does start with the family. Being an adult child of an alcoholic is a thing. It's a syndrome that we see that people are suffering from, and oftentimes will go into addiction. So I'm just thankful to be able to talk about it, lessen the stigma. I'm grateful to be able to work with other institutions in the county, Fighting Back, FSA, CALM, so many others who are really trying to bring awareness to addiction. So thank you.
Wow.
We also have Craig and Matt Hamlin from Coast Valley, so I don't know, Pastor, you want to say?
I just will take a second and say this. I've worked in public service for 46 years in Santa Maria. And I know many of you from different projects that we worked on. And the one thing that I can say about Santa Maria that I'm very pleased with, they have always had support for those who suffer from the disease of addiction. And I thank you for that very much.
Next, we have a retirement resolution, and City Manager Stillwell will be making the presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. We're honored to present a resolution to Terry Ma'a today. It's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Santa Maria, California, commending Information Technology Manager Terry Ma'a for more than a decade of exemplary city service. Whereas Terry Ma'a has been a dedicated employee, excellent communicator, an outstanding leader with the City of Santa Maria since being hired as the Information Technology Manager in January 2008. And whereas with over 36 years of information technology experience, Terry Ma'a has been the successful change agent for communications tools used by all 10 of the city's departments. And whereas Ms. Ma'a's significant accomplishments include, but are not limited to, reforming and rebuilding the city's communications structure, moving the police department into a state-of-the-art facility, establishing the 700 megahertz trunked radio communication system, implementing design and construction of the city's fiber optic loop. And whereas during Ms. Ma'a's tenure, the city undertook important facility construction technology deployments, including the public library that opened in 2008, 3 city fire stations, the Intermodal Transit Center, and the new police department and its 911 Public Safety Dispatch Center. And whereas, after more than 10 years of dedicated service to the city, Terry Ma'a will retire as the Information Technology Manager. And now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that by the City Council of the City of Santa Maria as follows. Terry Ma'a is commended for her dedicated service and outstanding contributions to the City of Santa Maria and is congratulated on her transition to the private sector and is wished good health and many happy years in all of her future endeavors. Passed and adopted at this council meeting, the City Council of Santa Maria, on this 4th day of September 2018.
Wait a minute.
I'll make
We have
that
to
as
have
a motion.
procedure here. Okay.
I'll
We have a
make that as
motion
a
on the
motion.
floor to adopt this, and we have a second. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll before Ms. Maha speaks?
Councilmember Boyson.
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield. Councilmember Moats.
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. Thank you, Terry.
Madam Mayor, council members, directors, city manager Jason, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, family. It's been such an honor to have served time here with the city of Santa Maria. And I really thank you for entrusting me with your resources, your people, and allowing me the ability to have done the many things that I've done on behalf of all the departments and for the people of Santa Maria. I truly treasure every opportunity that I've had here and have wonderful memories. I know I'm leaving you in good hands. The information technology team still is here, and they exist to serve you and your needs going into the future. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Waterfield?
Terry, before you go, I just want to thank you so much of what you've done for the city of Santa Maria and for the technology that you have established within our city bounds. You have gone well above what your job duty calls, and you never looked at what your job duty calls. You just did what was best, not only for the city of Santa Maria, for the entire Central Coast. And I'll never forget the moment when I first met you in the conference room and your idea on this technology that we were bringing in. The respect I have for you, but not only that, is that the spirit within your soul was for the good of every person here to be saved, and you looked into the future to see what we could do to make every resident safer here. And you have done that. You do leave an excellent IT team, and I know they just look up to you, but I just can't say enough of what you did for the city of Santa Maria, what you're still doing for the city of Santa Maria. I loved you from the moment I met you because you're just that great of a person, and I thank you so much for everything you've done for us.
And I think Ms. Waterfield said it all, but I want to thank you so much. People don't realize how far advanced we are technologically in the city of Santa Maria. And I have gone to meetings where they will point to Santa Barbara or they'll point north to San Luis Obispo. And in fact, at a meeting recently when Carlos was there, and people were shocked to know what we were doing in Santa Maria. But thank you very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, on to public comment. Do we have any speakers this evening?
Do you want me to read the title?
Oh, yes, go ahead and read the title.
This time is reserved to accept comments from the public on consent agenda items, closed session items, or matters not otherwise scheduled on the printed agenda this evening. Unless otherwise directed by the mayor, speakers will have 3 minutes to comment. Direction to staff may be given. However, state law does not allow action to be taken by the city council on matters not on the printed agenda this evening. Once the public comment period commences, no other speakers would be allowed to request to speak for them. And we have 2 requests to speak.
2 requests, okay. Edwin Weaver and Diane Lapham. And you have 3 minutes, Mr. Weaver.
Somebody left you a present, so,
I see.
but that's not my time. Great to see you all. I hope you've had a great summer. I finally got to meet Dr. Moats the other day. It was a lot of fun. I gave you a copy of our Recovery Day celebration. Wanted to make sure as you make the proclamation that you do understand that this community believes in collaboration, that we all work together as agencies. You'll see all the agencies listed here together, that we are one accord, that we really believe that our community works best when we work together, not just one agency getting a proclamation, but all of us who work in the recovery community. It's really a difficult time these days, and there's very few resources, and so the more we work together, I think it just shows how much Santa Maria is different than the other cities in the county, because we do work so closely together with the agencies that are here, especially to this community, the recovery community. We would love for you to come out that day. I know you're very busy, you all have very busy lives, but to come to Recovery Day and show people who are in recovery that they don't have to hide, that you love them, that you care about them as elected officials, and that you believe in what they're doing, being proud of the fact that they've come this far in their recovery. And I know that you'll try to be there, but I just wanted to make sure that you are invited, and I want to thank you for your support of using the city parks and for the city's support with Rec and Parks and all the different agencies that come out from the city to support this great event, and I hope we can see you there in September on the 26th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. And thank you for all Fighting Back does in our community to help our youth. You go into the schools, even out of the schools, the kids are attended to and their needs are met. So I thank you very much. Diane Lapham.
Good evening. This concerns the north end of town. This is ongoing. It's concerning a camera that we would like to have on the corner of Prisker and Hidden Pines. The reason I'm asking the mayor is because me and Mr. Flores aren't agreeing on the camera. Sergeant Flora. Several years ago I came in asking for a camera and help because we had cars that race any time of day or night. They don't care. We don't get sleep at night sometimes for 3 days in a row, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and any kind of holiday or whenever they want to have their gang of cars, they rip out. They don't care. They have no consideration for anybody. We have a lot more problems than just the cars ripping out on that corner. None of us can see what happens because it's the back sides of our house. So even by the time you get out your door, go up a ladder to look and see, or run around the corner, they're gone. They've already skidded out, peeled out, and they're racing down the Prisker Lane or down Hidden Pines. We do not have a camera, and we need some eyes bad to figure out who, what, where is going on with these people, because they're not going to stop until we catch them. And it's really hard to catch something you can't see. The camera can see it. We just got a homeless encampment taken away from between the riverbed where the bridge stops and where the whole side over by Boomers. 30 mattresses were taken out of there last couple weeks ago when I told them I found it. They came out and took them out, but there's still a bunch of twigs and brush and everything back there. It's a fire. You know, they come in that way, right at the end of Prisker. They'll come in, and at nighttime between 10 and 12, mosey on back there, and that's their little place to go sleep for the night. So we had a guy that came in with a gun during dove season that thought it was funny to take a gun. He said, well, it's dove season. Took his gun and went into the riverbed. We have to have somebody, we have to have eyes. We can't call the police and after the skid out's already gone and they're gone, or in the middle of the night when the people are asleep. We don't want the drama. We want some help. We need a camera to help catch the stuff that's going on there. I've had things going on in my front yard because they come right off the levee. The guy in the corner had to put up a fence around his because he gets things stolen out of his yard. We had Christmas stuff stolen out of the house across the street from me and down the street from me. And then they take off and out the riverbed they go. We're down the levee. And we need some eyes. We need something to help us on that corner. We would really appreciate it. And I'm coming to you, Mayor, because Flora, he said, well, I said, I'm looking at the mayor. I said, if you can't help me out. Just something temporary, something to show them that you're watching them. We could use the camera that's at the park, even. That's where you go into the entrance if they don't have any more. They had 2 extra a year ago when I asked for one, but they never gave it to us. temporarily move it over and show these guys that we're not going to put up with it anymore. We really need some help.
Thank you, Mrs. Lappin. I will work with our chief here, and we'll get something done out there for you. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Bye-bye. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, could you please read the item number 3?
Routine items are presented for City Council approval without discussion as a single agenda item in order to expedite the meeting. The consent calendar is approved by roll call vote with one motion. These items are discussed only on the request of council members.
Anyone need anything moved, or? I'm good. You're good? Okay.
Move for approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
What? Okay, relating to item 3D, amendment to CalPERS contract. Staff has requested the item 3D be pulled from the consent calendar and considered as a regular business item on the agenda. CalPERS disallows the adoption of the contract amendment on the consent calendar. Therefore, I will make the motion to pull item 3D from the consent calendar and re-agendize it in a regular business item as a new business item number 5. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield? Aye. Thank you. And Councilmember Moat, sorry.
Okay, so I'm sorry, then I had a motion to approve the consent calendar and a second?
As amended, yeah.
Okay, having heard the motion and a second, any further discussions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield? Aye. Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
And Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye. The next order of business is appointments. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title and present the staff report?
The City Council will consider making appointments to the Block Grants Advisory Committee and the Santa Maria Community Television Board. Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the request before you tonight is to make those appointments. As I mentioned, I'll present the boards one at a time for consideration of the appointments and council's ratification. I'll begin with the Block Grants Advisory Committee, which has 2 vacancies. Madam Mayor and Councilmember Cordero will have the opportunity to make one nomination each for the terms of 3 years ending in July of 2021. Staff received an application from incumbent Nicolette Reeves, previously nominated by former Councilmember Zuniga. In addition, 2 new applications were received from Karen Franklin and Eric McSoud. However, Ms. Franklin has since withdrawn her application for consideration for the Block Grants Advisory Committee. The appointments are to be made by Madam Mayor Patino with ratification by the City Council.
Do we have any requests to speak or written correspondence?
No, Madam Mayor, we do
Okay.
not.
So Councilmember Cordero, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I nominate Nicolette.
Okay. So, and I'd like to continue my nomination to the next meeting. I accept the nomination of Nicolette Reeves for the Block Grants Advisory. Do I have a second? Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
I'll move on. There is 1 vacancy on the Santa Maria Community Television Board that has yet to be filled. Mayor Patino will have the opportunity to make 1 appointment for the unexpired term ending in January 2019. Karen Franklin is the only applicant and did not ask for her application to be withdrawn from that board.
Okay.
Once again, this appointment is to be ratified by the council. Prior to making an appointment, as a reminder, staff will continue to advertise 1 vacancy each on the Board of Appeals and the Land Park Committee.
Okay, then I will make the motion to appoint Karen Franklin to the Santa Maria Community Television Board. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. And any council discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Madam Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
And thank you very much for those volunteers who take the time to be on the city boards and committees. So now we have to consider the regular business, then number 5, which we just moved. Madam Clerk, could you please read the title?
The City Council will conduct the second reading and adopt ordinance number 2018-09, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, and the City Council of the City of Santa Maria.
So Director of Human Services and Records, Anderson, will you please give us your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Honorable Council. This item was first heard by Council and considered on August 7th, and that was the evening that the first reading of the ordinance took place. Tonight is the completion of that process for the amendment of the contract between PERS and the Santa Maria employees to contribute their portion of PERS. They'll be contributing their portion of their PERS, anyway, it'll be amending the contract so employees can contribute to their pension. Anyway, so this is the second reading tonight, and this will complete that process, and then the contract will be amended.
Thank you. Any questions from the dais? Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any written communications or requests to speak on this item?
No, Madam Mayor, there are not.
So do I have a motion to conduct the second reading and adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Moats?
Aye.
Councilmember Boyson?
Aye.
Councilmember Cordero?
Aye.
Councilmember Waterfield? And Madam Mayor Patino.
Aye. The next item will be a report by the City Manager, Mr. Stillwell.
Thank you, Mayor Patino, members of the City Council. The next meeting of the City Council is 2 weeks from tonight, September 18th. We have a number of items on the agenda. The main item will be a presentation from Home for Good, which was previously C3H, for the council to receive an update on homelessness and the homeless activities and our work to address homelessness in the city. And that's a regular presentation that comes to the council periodically. Also, we will have a declaration of a shelter crisis grant on the council's agenda, and that's a grant application that the county is coordinating with all the cities for if the council declares shelter emergency, we'll be able to benefit from grant proceeds if the county is awarded homeless shelter grants, and also an approval of CDBG funding priorities for the fiscal year 2019-2020. That concludes my report.
Thank you. So the next item, oral reports of council members. Mr. Boyson, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only reportable item I have is that I did represent the City Council at the Quarterly Investment Oversight Committee on August the 16th. But I would also like to use my time to put a plug in for an item that we will have on the agenda at the next meeting, declaring, hopefully getting a approval from the City Council for declaring shelter emergency in the city of Santa Maria. This is an ordinance, or it's has been passed by the state of California. It's allocated based on population and point-in-time counts. Over $9 million will be coming to the county of Santa Barbara. The city of Santa Maria would probably receive approximately 25% of that, and those funds could be used for homeless issues such as law enforcement outreach, homeless diversion, and we're looking at a new homeless court here in town, and of course mental health services, rapid rehousing, that sort of thing. So there is, I realize that sometimes there may be a stigma to quote-unquote declaring a homeless emergency, but it is necessary for us to do that in order to qualify for these funds. It's a one-time fund, so it's not funds that we want to use for ongoing services, but I certainly think these funds would go to great lengths to help with the homeless problems that we have in our city. So,
thank you.
That's my pitch.
Ms. Waterfield.
Madam Mayor, I believe our last meeting was the 7th, August 7th. Is that correct? Okay, I'm going back in my calendar on my phone just to make sure I've got everything squared. On August 7th, I attended the National Night Out at Presker Park, which was absolutely a great event. And shortly after that, attended Santa Maria Beautiful at the library, which we had a presentation that night as well. at 3 p.m., at Saturday, August the 11th, I attended the Buena Vista Park rededication, which was absolutely a very nice event. I got to speak on behalf of the mayor, and that park was our first park that we ever enjoyed coming into Santa Maria, because 33 years ago we lived in those little park apartments across the street, and it was just great to see how wonderful everything looked at the new dedication. I attended a Measure U meeting on August 14th. I attended the 110th anniversary of the Santa Maria Public Library, which was a very nice event to attend. And then later that day, attended Marion Regional Medical Foundation fundraiser. Tuesday, the 21st, I attended YMCA Summer Social, which was a briefing on from the Board of Directors. But what was so wonderful about that is a lot of people, I don't know if you're aware of GenSpan, who was the founder, were Dr. Shepard and Mrs. Francesca Shepard. And so they're closing down GenSpan, but they're turning over the monies that they have left behind, which was what I understand is a pretty large amount of money, over to the YMCA's program. So she's always been about children, helping children, and making sure everything was taken care of. The 23rd, I attended the H2A meeting at Edwards Community Center. August 25th, attended Serve Santa Maria. And Central Coast Literacy, the Central Coast Literacy Council, I attended that on August 28th, along with several other people, and then attended the reception later that evening at the new Villa del Sol in regards to the Elks reception for their rodeo efforts. And I believe elected, and that's it. That's it.
Thank you. Dr. Moats.
It's always a task to go after you at a...
Well, and I did attend Terry Ma's retirement dinner too, which was very, very nice. It was great.
Okay, on Sunday the 19th, I attended the Day in the Park, where I was in charge of salsa at the Rotary Barbecue concession. On the 20th, I attended an interesting meeting called D2AC, which is a get-together of both the developers and the development community in the city, where I learned several things about archaeologic requirements before things can be built. I also attended the H2A meeting at Edwards on Thursday, August 23rd. Thank you.
Mr. Cordero.
Thank you, Mayor. On the August the 11th, I also attended the rededication of Buena Vista Park, and Ms. Waterfield neglected to mention it then, and she neglected to mention it again tonight, that park went in 1906.
And what is the magic?
And the magic about 1906 is both of our fathers were born in 1906.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as a young man, as a young boy, I used to come to that park and play when we come to visit from Santa Barbara. So it had a little special significance for me. On the 15th, I met with Commissioner Tom Lopez to discuss some events that are coming up. On the 16th, I attended a United Way meeting, and I also met on the 16th with a couple of constituents regarding some issues that they had concerning the 4th of July fireworks. On the 23rd, I was at the H2A meeting. On the 28th, I was at the Central Coast Literacy Council at Shepherd Hall, which was interesting. I really didn't know as much about that as I probably should. On the 29th, I attended a special closed session council meeting here at City Hall. And then on the 30th, I attended the back to school night at Santa Maria High School. And I also attended the Elks Rodeo wrap-up meeting at Casa del Sol. And, it seems as though in the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of high-profile people pass away, and our city was not exempt to that. We had past council member, he was on the council twice, Toro Miyoshi passed away. And what I remember about Toro is if he had something really passionate, that he was passionate about, he would hunt you down and talk to you, and he was not hesitant about getting to you and mentioning what he thought the pros and cons over a particular issue were regarding the city. He never really lost his passion to do things within the city. And he also spent, I think, one cycle on the county supervisors as well. And that would be it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. August 10th, I attended the Downtown Fridays. I like to go downtown on the Friday nights. I think it's great to see all the families that are there and what they're doing to sort of wind down on a Friday, and they're taking their kids out to dinner and listening to good music. I can't remember if it was the 10th or the week after that they had wrestling, and they thought I was one of the wrestlers, right? So on August 12th, One Nation 805 did their first annual backpack giveaway at the Abel Maldonado Community Center, and I think there was 300 backpacks given away. And on the 15th, I attended Committee Inc., the luncheon there, the Santa Maria Valley and the Santa Maria Valley Chamber of Commerce to talk about the airport. On the 16th, I did the interview for the Grogan Award that's coming up. Did a tour of Los Adobes de Maria. That's People's Self-Help Housing is doing. And the only thing that's holding them up are the utilities. And that has nothing to do with Santa Maria. It has to do with the utility agency. Attended the APCD board meeting. On the 17th, I attended the mayor's managers meeting that we do quarterly. That was in Solvang. And again, I sort of cruised downtown Fridays. August 20th, I did the D2AC developers, Director and Developer Advisory Council in the Moon Room. And did the YMCA Summer Social, and acknowledging a lot of the good that the YMCA does and what it does for kids. And part of that came out of the mayor, I didn't realize it, but out of the mayor's task force, and they then complemented what they were doing with the YMCA. August 22nd, I attended the Marion Foundation Board of Directors meeting, and later that afternoon, I met with a group of growers here on the H2A housing. On the 23rd, I did CDBG applicant meetings and H2A housing meeting at Edwards Community Center that evening. August 24th was the visitation for Mr. Miyoshi, and I gave the condolences from the council to Jean, his widow. August 27th, Block Grants Committee Advisory Public Workshop, and that was held at the Learning Center in the library to see what the unmet needs were in the city of Santa Maria. August 28th, met with the Rent Stabilization Subcommittee at Casa Grande Mobile Home Park. Did the Central Coast Literacy Council Strawberry Social, and then went over to the Elks Rodeo Sponsor Appreciation VIP reception of Denim and Diamonds that the Elks Club was doing to wind up the rodeo season. And August 31st, Downtown Fridays, and then this morning did the Ben Hayes Radio Show. And I think that's it. Anything else from the council? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.